I mean, I was looking for a smoke machine or something. So
Oh, that's the third annual OG
I got you.
Barber.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
we just barely had enough to get two more of these little blocks for the stage. So, next year we're gonna get smoked, and then we got to get some more lights too.
Smoke and okay, got it. Yep.
And what else? What else you want us to get?
I like the lights. I mean, just the HD lights.
DJ
Theme music? Yeah.
No, this the education part. See, y'all, this ain't no cut party. This education. Y'all want some music playing on your phone. All right, y'all give it up for Mike. All right, Mike. You want this here?
How y'all doing this afternoon? Y'all all right? Can y'all hear me? Yeah? Cool, all right. So I don't have a lapel mic, so I'm gonna end up putting this down in about 10 minutes or so. I'm gonna try my best to project because it's gonna be hard to hold a mic. I don't know if y'all ever done that before, to hold a mic while you do a haircut. So I'm gonna try my best just to talk as loud as I can. But I also wanna challenge anybody that wants to get more engaged just to come down and fill up some of these seats. One thing that's special about these type of events is that we're in a bubble, right? Like this isn't normally what barbers do. So embrace it, get out of your comfort zone a little bit and come close, right? Let's make this thing real, let's take some notes. I also wanna challenge you that if you have your phone on, put it on Do Not Disturb. Right? And let's get focused. And I want to have a conversation with y'all as I show you a particular type of service that I do that is something pretty unique, not only in Atlanta, but I think it's pretty unique in the industry. So I'm excited for it, and I'm going to ask for a lot of participation. I want some Q&As, right? And I'm looking forward to just, sharing what I've been doing that's working, all right? So give me 1 second. I'm going to put this mic down. I'm going to try my best just to project, all right? Cool. You gonna hold the mic the whole time for me? What?
Let's do it.
You gonna follow me around?
Boy, just help me up.
Come on up. Y'all give it up for Vanna Brown, y'all.
I am
Yeah, so let me get my model covered. All right, so I chose this particular model for a couple different reasons. Why? A, because this is Meg. She has had a haircut by me on Thursday, right? So I know some of y'all might be thinking, hey, this is a tutorial. She really don't need a haircut, right? That's exactly why I chose this model, because I want to show a different view, a different perspective on how I approach this service. I call it cleanup service, all right? So I'm going to get started, and can you guys see this screen up here? I know it might be a little... You guys can see it well? For everybody over here, let me move back over here. All right. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm just going to hold it for a little bit.
know.
It's going to be a lot.
We're going to do a lot
You
here.
can go ahead and see it. I'll take care of it. Thank you,
Put
though.
it right there.
Just tucking in my shirt. That's what I should do.
Well, thank you.
All right, y'all bear with me while I find my projector remote. On the... Yep.
All right, Mr. Mike, we have a gift for you from Easy Blend Master. He's donating his speaker.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, sir.
Yeah. It don't have the bass like the other one, but I'm sure they're gonna be able to hear you.
Appreciate that.
Yes. Put the mic in front of the speaker. Put the mic in front of the speaker. Yeah.
See, that's why you, Tyreek.
No, Tyreek, no.
That's why you, Tyreek.
Tyreek Talk Tuesday, because he knows everything about everything. I'm telling you. If you don't believe me, go over there and sit next to Tyreek. Let's try.
Check, mic check. Check 1, check 2. Can y'all hear me? We good? Ooh, that's clutch. My brother.
That's right. Give it up for Desmond Dunbar.
All right, try to bring in some extra technology for y'all today. And I don't have that plugged in, all right. So with this particular service called the Squeeze In, guys, I'm excited because I have done something pretty unique in the industry. I'm gonna have to tap it with my hand. I've done something pretty unique. Perfect, thank you, sir. I've done something pretty unique in the industry, and I want to share with you guys not only my story quickly, but also how my story connects to you, because I think as barbers, we have a lot more in common than I think we give each other credit for. I think naturally in our industry, there's a lot of competition, but it's about sharing, right? So we can all grow. 2020 was a huge year for all of us. So I'm excited to share with you what I'm doing. And I want to share with you how to become the enhancement. So if you got, can you guys all see this now? Who's in the background? Bruce. Yeah, so the special thing about Bruce, and my perspective, right, is that Bruce mastered 3 different things. Number 1, martial arts, right? But that's not it. If all he did was master martial arts, we wouldn't know who he is. He also mastered a second language, speaking English, right? So that's the second value that he brought. Please stick with me. The third thing that he mastered was what? Acting, right? So he's mastered 3 different things. Not only was he dope as an artist, as a martial artist, but he also had to be dope as speaking English, and he also had to be dope as an actor. So it was 3 different layers of value with what he was doing, right? So I bring that to you right now to show you that it's more unique to our culture. You guys know who this is. Bruce Leroy, all right? All right, so y'all understand this relation. So this movie came out in 1985, I think. Yeah, so you might not know who this is, but if you don't, definitely check out this movie because it was really impactful for me. I was born in 1985. Hey, am I the baddest? Oh, you okay, I'm sorry, sir. Yeah, go ahead. Leroy. So yeah, with Bruce Leroy, this story is unique, and some of that imagery back then, it's a little dated now, right? But if you watch the story, you'll see that he mastered something outside of martial arts as well, right? He had to find who he was, and he was looking for a master the whole time, but really the master was inside of him, and he started to glow, right? A little corny, but guys, this is what keeps me going. So here's what we're going to cover. First, I'm going to do a quick intro, let y'all know a little bit more about who I am. Next, I'm going to introduce the cleanup service, which is a service that 95% of the industry is kind of overlooking because it's more about perspective than the actual skill set. And last, I'm going to do a quick vision check. So I'm going to challenge you guys just to think a little differently. We're going to talk about how you see value, how you see worth, and tie it all together, all right? Y'all good? We good? All right. So this is who I am. My name is Mike Andrews again. I am a 6-figure part-time master barber. Part-time meaning I work between 25 to 27 hours a week in Atlanta. And I really have found something special within our industry that has been kind of reserved for celebrity barbers. And I've been able to change that perspective and the use of that service and that idea to make it work for the everyday regular client. All right. So this is 2 different pictures. One is me in 2023 dancing with my family. So I'll, Negroes in Paris is the name of this song. But I have 2 girls. I have twin girls. They are 3 years old. My son is 6 years old. And my wife, we've been married for about 8 years now, y'all. So just like y'all, right? Appreciate that. And the second picture over to the right here. Oh, let me go on back. The second one to the right here is in 2020. So I'm going to kind of walk y'all and tell y'all a couple different stories. Currently who I am, 6-figure part-time master barber. I own Ideal Barbershop. I do hair care. I have a barber mastermind program called Amplify. I have a couple students here where I'm teaching barbers how to scale without becoming a celebrity barber, right? Scale past 6 figures. I think a lot of times we get stuck thinking 6 figures is what we can do, but it's all about what you've been exposed to, right? We need to have conversations about millionaire barbers nowadays. So there's different ways to see how that stuff can work, y'all. But to walk y'all back into 2020, this is when I really started to question a lot of things. Because what happened in 2020, y'all? We talked about it with Cole. We shut down, COVID, right? So for me personally, I had a lot of questions for myself, just to be transparent. I was questioning my identity because if y'all are like me, you were cutting hair probably 40 plus hours. And you were questioning, what do I do now? How do I take care of my family? How do I feed my kids? Who am I if I'm not cutting hair, right? What am I if I'm not a barber? What value do I bring to the world if I can't put hair on the floor, right? That's where I was in 2020. Anybody else kind of felt that way? All right, cool, just making sure it wasn't just me. But these are the questions that I asked, and I decided to take action. So that's why I have this exclamation point, because what separates pretty much people from achieving their goals is just a matter of taking massive action, going after what your vision is. If you can think about it, you can dream it, you can do it, right? Al talked about that earlier, that it's all about your mindset and your ability to connect your ideas into a real world thing. Like this building was an idea, as crazy as it may seem, right? Before they put the carpet on the floor, this stage up here, this is somebody's mind. So when you think about that with your own life and your own goals and stuff, it really changes some things. And 2020 is when I decided to change a couple of things myself. So I introduced to my clientele, as I was sitting at home trying to figure out who am I decided to take action. And I had this idea years ago about this product called the Touch-Up Kit. Now this was a challenge for me because I have always identified myself as just a barber, right? And that I only brought value to my clients if I was cutting their hair. But I was sitting at home, I had 2 baby girls, they were just born in February, right? So I wasn't about to expose my children to COVID at that time, right? There was a lot of fear. But I decided to introduce the Touch-Up Kit. So the Touch-Up Kit, just to make it plain for y'all, was a box of trimmers, some liquid razor, astringent, and a Barber magic brush, right, the brush. And what I did was really take what is additional value that I thought I had and brought it to the marketplace, even though I was sitting at home. So I sold my clients and people all over the country this ideal touch-up kit. So what it is, I just had my ideas and I put it into a format which people can consume it. And that really just blew up things in my mind. It made me realize that there's way more that I can accomplish once I put down the clippers, right? So please stick with me as I'm going through. Touch-up kit, I sold it to about, I would say 60 people across the country, about $100 a piece. So made about $6,000, spent about $3,800 buying the clippers and stuff like that, right? So I just made it work. I made it work. I was sitting at home. I was frustrated. I didn't want to expose my family to the corona, so I made it work. So that is how I kind of came to the realization that it wasn't what I did every day that was the valuable thing. It was in my mind, right? I was the enhancement. I am the enhancement. That's where the shirt comes from, guys. Is that as a barber, I have identified that I'm the difference, not these tools, right? What's in our minds is what's powerful if you take action, okay? So my goal today is twofold, all right? So I'm gonna be juggling a little bit. I'm gonna be showing you a service while also telling you what's behind the service. And I'm gonna challenge a mindset that some of us have, right? Because as barbers, what's the most addictive content for us? Watching people cut hair, right? You be on YouTube, you can spend hours on YouTube. I've been there, I still do it from, not hours, but I still do it from time to time. But we always think that how I can become better is by consuming more content, right? Watching more videos of somebody doing a different type of fade, somebody using a different type of clipper, right? So I want to challenge you to have a different mindset. As I show you this cleanup service, I want you to think about what I'm displaying as far as the value, and I'm going to be walking through the back end value with the slides. So like I said, I'm going to be juggling a little bit, all right? So I see myself as more of a consultant than just a master barber, more of a specialist than just a barber, right? But the biggest distinction that I want you guys to follow me with here today is that I'm not a celebrity barber. I have no intentions on being a celebrity barber. I may cut some people who have some followings on social media who may do some things, but that's not really important to me. And I think it's important for the industry to feel this shift before the market starts to feel the shift. And I'll touch on that a little bit later, but I'm not a celebrity barber. I want my clients to feel valued, and that's by me. I can do that by me bringing the value to the table, all right? So speaking of celebrity barbers, have anybody heard of Any Authentic? Nobody? Okay, we got a few people. Any Authentic? All right, bet. Nobody over here? Got some head nods, all right, bet. So, okay, can y'all hear me still? Check. All right, so Any Authentic put up this post. And if you're not familiar with him, he is one of my idols in the industry, y'all. This man is amazing behind the chair. He is a savant of a barber. And he put this post up that really touched on my point here. Have you guys seen this one? He says, barbers, if you are making less than $1 a minute, you're playing yourself. If you're making between $1 and $1.25 a minute, you're maintaining yourself. If you make between $1.25 and $1.50 a minute, you're treating yourself. If you make between $1.50 and $2 a minute, well, now you're setting yourself up for retirement. And it says here, over $2 a minute, you're possibly building generational wealth. Yeah. Andy Authentic said this, guys. And you know, we had that post come out recently. It was actually his client, Jalen Rose, and it went crazy. I know a lot of us reposted it, but in that post, Jalen Rose was saying how barbers need to be making what? $100 a cut, right? Does anybody feel like that's maybe not necessarily tangible for the city that you're in? You know, maybe not so tangible with the type of clientele. Like it's a dope idea, but not everybody can do that. I cut in a big city, right? So maybe I have a little more exposure. Well, I'm going to be showing you a service that brings that idea of making this type of money per minute and how it is definitely possible for the regular barber that's not chasing the celebrity barber status, okay? All right, so the cleanup service. What I'm doing here is what I decided to eliminate the lineup service from my books. When I walked back towards 2020, I decided to essentially give away the lineup service to my clients, and I wanted to provide value. So I took that off my books, and now I do the cleanup service. And the cleanup service is more about the value that my time has more than the value of my services. All right, so we're talking about layers of value here, all right? Y'all stick with me. All right, so this is the cleanup service, y'all. I charge currently for a full haircut. I charge $60, a haircut and beard trim, $75, a full hour on my schedule, $120, right? This service is a cleanup service. This is a $30 service on my books. By the end of the year, I think I'm gonna go up to 40 based on how booked I am, but a $30 service. And this is where I want y'all to kind of think differently. With this particular service, it's more about the time that they're in my chair, not necessarily exactly what I'm doing. All right, so I cut Meg here Thursday. So this fade right here, I know you guys can't see a lot of detail, ain't a lot of work to do. But in this particular service, I'm bringing the value of my time. So it's only a 15-minute service, y'all, only 15 minutes. And with this particular client, this service is a cleanup. I'm gonna be going around with my trimmers, clean up this bald fade, definitely lining her up real quick, spraying some enhancements on there. And that's a $30 service on my books. Now here's the thing that may challenge some beliefs that you may have. I don't think it matters what they're getting. What matters is my time. Sir, if you're coming in for the cleanup service and say you had a cut on, I don't know, last week, right now you're pretty fresh, right? You got a wedding to go to this weekend. You booked the cleanup service. My job at that point is to give you really what's possible for you, whatever you really want in that 15-minute time block. Again, I'm valuing the time, not necessarily what I'm doing. So if it's Al coming in who has the OG Barber Conference coming up, right? And he got a haircut, but it started to grow back a little bit. Now with him, all he wants me to do is do a quick little shave on the top with the electric shaver. As long as you keep it to 15 minutes, that's where the value is, y'all. So I need a quick volunteer. Anybody got their phone out, pull out a calculator real quick? Somebody real quick. All right, cool, ma'am. Can you please stand up? What's your name? Heather Marie. Y'all give it up for Heather Marie. Another Vanna Brown in the building. All right, so with this service, I typically charge, I charge $30, and I typically get about 35 to 40 clients typically tip, right? So if I do 4 of these services, that's say $30 times 4. What's the numbers? 120. So that's $120 an hour. Now let's take that and divide it by 60. Yep, 160. 120, I'm sorry, divided by 60. $2? So that's, again, per minute, that's $2 a minute. Y'all follow what I'm doing here? So I'm able to increase my value to $2 a minute without cutting celebrity barbers. I'm cutting people who need regular services like Al would need, like my brother right here would need, and I'm ratcheting up my value without adding additional services, right? Without adding additional time. This is what has allowed me to become a part-time 6-figure barber by servicing people who have regular needs, but just flipping the game a little bit, y'all. I think sometimes we get stuck in the identity that, well, if you get in my chair, if I'm gonna do a full haircut, then you're gonna have to pay me a full haircut price. And I understand that. But also there's people who need a quick service that you can get in and out the chair, and as experienced barbers, right, you can knock out a 15-minute quick service. I assume y'all all can, right? We can all do that. And then maintain these clients by providing the value of your time. Now, if you want to charge $60 for 50 minutes or $75 for 15 minutes, that's cool, but I think it'll be hard to get that person to come back on a regular basis. And this person can come 1 week and get a full haircut, beard trim, temp fade, right? And then the next week, come get the cleanup. Y'all tracking me? Am I making sense here? Yes. All right. Anybody have any questions? I want this to be interactive. Does anybody have any questions? Because it's okay for us to have a dialogue in this particular presentation. I'm going to have the trimmers on too.
How much are you charging for the full haircut?
Have a dialogue. Full haircut, for 45 minutes, I charge $75 for a haircut and beard trim. A 30-minute service, I charge $60. Y'all following me? Haircut in the dark too, man. Put me to the... You trust? All right, bet. So as I walk through this service, y'all, again, any questions, please pop up and ask me. But my goal here is to clean up the work that I've already done. And this is easier work for us. And this is easier work for us because, thank you, because you don't have to start from scratch, right? You don't have to start from scratch. You can maintain a haircut. And then when they come the next week or 2 weeks later, it's not so much work for you to do on the back end. All right, so I'm saying I get that a lot of people may not want to embrace this idea, but it's cool to understand that sometimes you can just switch up some things sometimes, guys, and expose yourself to a whole nother group of clients who may not have valued you at trying to charge like I do $75 for a haircut, right? It's about how much you make per minute, right? Not about necessarily what you see that you're worth. Worth is about birthright, right? I'm not going to preach up here, but I believe your worth is God-given. Anybody agree? Yeah, okay, cool. I believe your worth is already God-given. You came into this world worthy, right? Now we're talking about value. I'm trying to show a different way of increasing your value as a master barber, all right?
How do you schedule? How do you have your schedule set up to take?
How do I schedule it?
How do you have your schedule set up to take those appointments?
They book a cleanup service, so it's a 15-minute block, and they schedule a 15-minute block called a cleanup.
So no buffer in there, like 5 minutes?
Nope, because the value is in that time. And if my client shows up 10 minutes late to a 15-minute cleanup service, you get a 5-minute service. Yes, ma'am.
How did you get started with that? How do you educate those clients about
Well, so this is, she asked, I don't know if you guys can hear, she asked about how do I get started with this, how to educate my clients. I started listening to the market. Most clients, they put value on time, but they don't necessarily express it like that, right? You think about a wedding day haircut. There's a lot of value in a wedding day service, right? People would actually charge way more for wedding day services, but is it the same haircut? Yeah, essentially it's the same haircut. What changes? Higher stakes. The fact that you can't show up 30 minutes late to a wedding service, all right? Or let's use another example. Maybe a celebrity getting cut before he goes to do whatever he has to do, right? Maybe you have to show up on his set. The value is in the time, not necessarily the same. The service is essentially the same. The value is in the time. When we all shut down, Cole talked about it, when we all shut down in 2020, clients were hitting us up like crazy. What changed? Was our services all of a sudden better? Why are they offering us more money? The value increased, and they didn't have the time. We didn't have the ability to exchange the time anymore. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
The question was asked, there's no buffer there. Can you explain to them how you condition your clients through policy or whatever, to how you condition your clients so that they have an expectation of you, you have an expectation of them, how you maintain that schedule?
For sure. I think it depends on the client. I think the question was posed, what kind of policies do I use to hold the standard of this type of service? It's more about just communication. So my clientele, my ideal client is a punctual person. I'm looking for somebody who respects their time, therefore they respect my time. And that's a unique type of person. Hopefully we're all searching for that type of person. But yeah, my my policies say that there's a 10-minute buffer, but it It depends on the person. Like if you came in for your goatee and you were 10 minutes late to that 15-minute service, I can still get your goatee done in about 10 minutes, right? But we're just understanding that within this time block, this is the expectation, is that it's a cleanup. I'm not doing a full-blown hot towel. If you want razor, we can do razor quickly because we're all experienced. But I'm not going to give you the pretty much hour service. I'm giving you the cleanup service, right? Did I answer that question, y'all? Hopefully I did. If I didn't, like I said, you can challenge this, guys. This is something that works for me. So I want you to kind of break down these barriers that you may, oh, it's not going to work for me, Mike. Yeah, go ahead.
So with your example of showing up 10 minutes late to a 15-minute appointment, would you still charge them for that full 15-minute appointment?
Yep, yeah, because again, I'm putting my the importance on my time. So I'm still charging, just like I would for a full haircut service. That's how I treat it, guys. So if somebody shows up 20 minutes late to a 30-minute haircut, I'm not gonna sacrifice the value that my next client has on his appointment to get this client in that was late without no communication, right? If they didn't communicate they were running late, well, that's on me to stick to that and knock it out in 10. Again, there's a 10-minute buffer, so I can do a 20, 15-minute service, but I'm putting a lot of value on my time. And my clients that come and support it, that come to our barbershop and support it, they understand that time is their number one thing. That's the thing they value most. Of course, they want a barber who can cut, but they got places to go. This is for a particular type of client who values time, and that typically is what? A professional, an executive, you know, somebody got Tyreek, somebody who got somewhere to go. We got a presentation to make tonight at the ball, right? There's a high value on time. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I have to know how you deal with your first-time clients if you only have a 15-minute gap to do a cleanup.
If they book a cleanup, so if a first-time client, in my description of the service, I put what exactly this is, what I'm capable of and what I'm not capable of in this 15 minutes.
So is there still like a mini consultation at the time or no consultation?
Yeah, I mean,
what they're there for and you just do what you gotta do?
yeah, so with this service, there's policies online, so when they book it, there's a reminder email that they get. I use Square booking system. I don't know if anybody else uses that, but you can add in some layers of communication. And then when they get there, they know they booked the cleanup. I'm confirming that you know that you booked the cleanup. And even if I don't see how they would. I haven't had that experience where they didn't know what they booked. But my first time clients typically book a full haircut or they book the 45-minute slot.
And that's where you sell the enhanced service, which is the cleanup.
Yep, so in between haircuts, yeah, so you come in, you get a full haircut, full beard trim. Say next week, you just want something quick to get you in and out. That's what this service can be. Yes, y'all feel how this can fill up some gaps in your schedule, how this can increase your value? Y'all tracking me still? But again, if there's anything that you may not understand, please let me know. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I listen to over 100 talks a year, and I don't say much. This is a big idea. This is gonna make people a lot of money. This is really good. Like I don't even cut hair, but it's making me think. Things I can do with my company. I make notes. I don't say much.
Okay.
This is a really, really good idea, my man. I gotta tell you that.
Yes, sir.
So I agree that's a good idea, right? But you say that you have a mentorship program, right? So here, let's say somebody in your mentorship program, they want to bring this idea into their barbershop, right? What are you telling them as far as how do they roll this out? How do they implement this to their clients and make that adjustment? Because you just mentioned you have some policy buffers within Square.
For sure.
Okay. Well, from my 30 years experience cutting hair, men don't like to read as much.
For sure.
The women will actually sometimes read the policy and they will respect that. With guys, you know, because of the culture, they just want to show up and get cut.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're having those things. So how do you coach your people to implement that? Because one of the big things that I see online is these younger stylists and barbers rolling out these policies and they seem so me-centric and not about the client.
Got it.
And sometimes they mean the right thing, but in their delivery, it's like they're doing them a favor. And so, how do you bridge that gap?
Yeah, great question. I'm trying to. Can I give you an example? I guess to answer. So in my barbershop, all my barbers offer the cleanup service. We market it via our email list, and that's how I kind of enrolled it. Say, hey guys, there's a new service out called the cleanup service. Instead of just getting just a regular lineup, book the cleanup instead, and we can do a quick taper, you know, maybe a quick beer lineup to get you in and out the chair. But Erskine, I was focused on the clients first. Like, it was the demand of the clients asking for, you ever had clients come in and ask you for the squeeze? Hey bro, can you squeeze me in real quick between clients? How much, can I give you $50 to squeeze me in? So instead of me doing that and sacrificing my client's time on the back end and not respecting my client's time on the back end, I said, yeah, I can squeeze you in, but there are boundaries to this squeeze in. The boundary is you got to show up on time, and the boundary is I'm going to be done at the end of your appointment service within reason, right? There's still some gray area, y'all. I'm just going to be 100% transparent. I can still finish up a service within 5-10 minutes after the appointment time. But that's essentially what I did. Was I told them, instead of just booking a regular lineup, book the cleanup, and I can clean up your taper. If you came last week, I can clean up your taper real quick. Or if you're going out for the weekend, I can do an enhancements with some spray enhancements and, you know, go over the top with the clippers. I hope I'm answering your question.
Yeah, my concern is the rollout. I see these guys just rolling it out all wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
It's no give take. It's like if the client goes wrong, you're screwed. But what about, you know, the barber's gonna go wrong or something?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a high level of accountability. Yeah, for sure. So, no, I would agree with that. And again, this is something I just want to just expose y'all guys to, right? This is more about perspective shifts rather than this is what you should do. Just open up your mind to it. That's kind of what I'm saying.
That's a great plan. I'm just saying that they rolled out.
Yeah, so it's accountability. So I think to expand your question, I don't think it matters what service they book. I don't think it matters if it's a 15-minute appointment, a 30-minute appointment, 45-hour. The same kind of rules apply about how much buffer you have on the back end, how much grace you're giving somebody if they're running late, how much grace you give yourself if you're running late. My personal thing is if I'm 15 minutes behind, I give a serious discount because I want to attract the kind of client that values time.
So I think that's what this question was.
Okay, what do I do?
As you're mentoring these other guys,
Got it.
what is their accountability if they're behind?
For sure, yes, I appreciate that. Thanks for helping me clarify that.
I can tell you can articulate your way through that with the client.
Yes, sir.
A lot of times they're not operating out of that.
Got it. Yeah, I appreciate that. So the important thing that they brought to the table was what's the accountability in the back end that the service providers have. And that's when you need to step up. And I'm sorry, I guess I kind of assume that everybody in the room runs on a schedule that you respect, right? And that when you're running behind, that you do something to take care of your clients. I'm sorry for that assumption. I do. If I'm running more than 15 minutes behind, I give a $10 discount. So on a 30-minute appointment, that's a $60 slot. I give 10 off because I want them to feel that I value them and that there's that I have some kind of stake in the game, and that it's not just an apology. Apologies for me and my clientele don't work. I don't want to be sorry that I'm running behind. I want to make you right. I want to make you whole. And I want you to know how much I respect your time. So I'm going to give you a discount. And it works amazingly for me and the type of client that I want to serve, because now when they're running late, they have the same type of value for my time. So I have a client who this is a specific example, who's ran late before. Actually, he missed his appointment entirely, didn't text me till 5 minutes before, and still sent me the entire haircut. Not because I had to pre-charge him, but because I set a standard that I respect your time. And if I'm respecting your time, then on the back end, you respect my time. So to be more clear, guys, I would not implement this if you're not willing to put some skin in the game and be just as responsible for your time as you're asking them to be. I appreciate y'all. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm just gonna finish up here, guys. And I appreciate y'all challenging this because it's something that took a lot for my barbers to embrace, but just through conversations, we've been able to figure out how to make it work. And now with this particular barber, Meg is a barber in my barbershop. Meg currently does not do the squeeze-in service. And you don't mind me sharing a little bit of your story, do you? All right, so Meg has recently transitioned from being a loctician full-time at 6 figures to now wanting to be a barber full-time to pursue the same dream. And I take that responsibility serious as her shop owner, right? So with Meg, she's not prepared to offer the cleanup service. That's another layer of accountability, yes, thank you, that I want you to have, is that if you're not a barber who is already efficient, then it's something that you should probably wait to introduce. Or expand the time frame. So if your cleanup service, if you can't do a 15-minute service, then make it 30 minutes or make it 20. right? But just entertain the idea of valuing time more than you are valuing just the skill set. Because I'll say a normal barber, we don't have the same exposure as celebrity barbers, but we can still make similar income. Yes, sir.
So what I understand is for you, you need $120 an hour.
Yes.
Your $60 a half hour.
Yes.
Your $30 every 15 minutes.
Yes.
Which keeps everything consistent with your 120 rather.
And let me just add a caveat into that. Except for my 45-minute slot, which is what I make that 75 to make it more attractive on my books.
I got you.
Okay.
But my better and best model.
Yes, sir.
Right. I like something that you said to encourage you when you said if you don't have the efficiency because not everyone has that speed quality or that cleanup, they gotta reset the cut every single time. So encouraging people, and I don't know if you do this with your class, but encouraging people to take maybe some speed cutting classes or something to kind of enhance that effectiveness and just being quicker at certain, because you clean up, you're just cleaning up the bottom. I get it. You're actually putting a definition to something that I did with 5 clients, but you're making it a whole thing for your entire business.
And they love it.
I did this for 5 clients for years. They came on Wednesday because they're going out on Thursday night for the women, and they came on Saturday for the cleanup. I charged them full price, but it was still the full half hour. And it was only for 5 different clients that I did it with. You're doing it for your entire business model and training your staff to do it. I think it's beautiful.
I appreciate that. Yeah, go ahead, bro, please.
So let's say, given the model you had earlier.
Can you talk a little louder, please, so everybody can hear?
Given the model that you had earlier with the picture with the 150 to 125. So if you extend your time, I cut pretty fast, but if you extend your time, you just break in, because the 30 minutes is only breaking it down to $2 a minute. So if you extend your time, then that still will give you some buffer to work your way up to the 15-minute slot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so if you're extending your time, then you're not quite at the $2 a minute.
Or if you do like 25 minutes or 20 minutes, just to make sure that you can get it done and get yourself worked up, introduce it to your clients. Like I have clients that I do weekly, so it's something I can offer to them and to others. Say, hey, you can come in every week versus just trying to,
Absolutely. So did y'all hear his point? He was saying how he's going to use this, or at least entertain the idea of putting it into your offerings to get your clients to show up every week instead of every 2 weeks.
I have people that come weekly now.
Yep, but it's a great way to expose the others. And that's another amazing point, is that this has also brought my clients. So there's a couple different ways to make more money as a barber, right? Right now we're in this price increase push, right? Everybody charge more. But there's another side of this thing, right? You expose yourself to cutting more people, and it's about the bottom line. The bottom line is that you need to make more money, not necessarily just charge more per service. And as far as being recession-proof, I have a lot of clients now. So instead of charging $150 or $160 per haircut, for every haircut, no matter how much time it takes, I now am able to accomplish the same goal by reducing the time frames and maximizing these individual time slots, right? Bringing so much value to every minute. Not just big picture, 6 figures, but how much value am I bringing per minute? Now, this doesn't work if you're the barber who has a full conversation every client about the game last night, or, that's when things get real dicey, because now it throws off everything. Another asterisk, in my barbershop, we don't have a TV. We don't have a TV. We play music, yes, but we don't have a TV. Why? Because I want my ideal client to feel that they are the center of attention. And yes, we have fun, we talk about games and all that, but I don't want distractions. I want the clients to know that there's a lot of value. We value your time, and we value giving you this clean service. Cal, go ahead.
He had a question first.
How did your ideas, did you say before time, how did your ideal schedule look?
How does my schedule look?
Yeah, start to finish, when you open, when you close.
Yeah, so.
Do you have a lunch built in?
Yeah, so he's asking how does my personal schedule look. Currently, I don't work Sundays or Mondays. I work 8 a.m. to 12 noon, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Thursday and Friday, I do 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and I work every other Saturday right now. My goal is to take off Saturdays completely because I want to spend more time with my family, but I ain't there yet. Mondays, I have my call with my mastermind. And Wednesdays I have a call with my mastermind at night. But that's my other part-time hours. I hope that makes sense. My cutting hours is about 20, average is about 25 to 27 hours a week.
So your 8 to 4, is there a lunch built in?
Yes, and I do have a lunch built in. Yes, so I have a 30-minute lunch. But I bring my lunch. We have a microwave, so I don't need a full hour. That's just how I see it. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say I love what you're doing because it gives barbers the ability to open themselves up to every market.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of barbers, they feel like they get stuck in one side or the other. And if you implement the things that you're doing, then you're giving yourself the ability to service both sides.
100%.
So, yeah,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think this is worth trying for everybody in here. Even if you feel like, nah, I would say just try it and see what kind of momentum you could bring to your schedule and to your bottom line. It's about being profitable. Not just saying I make $100 a haircut. Let's be profitable, y'all, first, right? Yes, Cole?
So, look, so how do you put limits on the cleanup? Because,
Yep.
you know, I used to do edge-ups. That's why I stopped, because they'll book an edge-up and come in and say, hey, can you just...
Yes, sir.
The just word.
The just.
So if I say I'll do a cleanup, you got an afro with the tape, you know, curl spun, you know how you do it. Line up the tape.
Yep.
That's basically a cleanup.
Yep.
But a person is going to come in, they're going to book that cleanup.
And want the most.
To ask for a little bit, you know, they're going to use that just words. How do you put limits on it?
The same way that you explained, bro, with your speech earlier. Like somebody's coming in asking for more than what my value is, what my standards are, and I'm not changing it. The cleanup service is just a 15-minute service first. So if somebody comes in with a full afro and he got a taper that he ain't got to cut in like 3 weeks, bro, I got enough time for a lineup. And I'm okay with him feeling some kind of way about it because it's still about maintaining the integrity of this appointment slot. It has to be a 15-minute slot. In this example, the more you stretch it out, the more you try to add on more and more because you may feel like I'm not giving them what I'm worth or what this should be worth. I would say just try it out and stick to a 15 minutes and stick with it and watch how it starts to transform your schedule.
So once someone has come in and they try to play, do the whole, hey, let me do the whole little, kind of the same question, let me squeeze in on the cleanup, what has that happened often?
Has the client tried to come in and play me and try to get the most?
Yes.
My clientele, I would say no, but not often. I would gauge often as more than 30 to 40% of the time, not at all. But at the same time, his question is, if somebody try to come in and play me and try to get the most within this little, like they try to book the cleanup service and really get a full 2-week haircut, they will. That's going to happen. But you have to stick to your standards, right? And stick with the fact that you know this is about valuing time. So it happens, but I'm okay with that because I know I'm still serving a major need of the market. They're saying I want your time, but I'm not necessarily, well, I guess I'm trying to explain that right.
I don't want to pay for it.
Yeah, I don't want to pay for it, but if you extend that time frame and try to give them the most, then you're stripping the value out of that 15-minute slot, right? And the rest of your schedule.
1 minute off is your whole day.
And I have ran more than 15 minutes behind before, but to the point I was trying to make to Erskine, I give a discount, y'all. Like I'm on the hook. So Cole said, don't be stressed. I'm a little stressed sometimes when I'm running behind. That's just me. But it's because I want to make sure my clients feel the additional level of value besides just my skill set. Yes, sir.
I just want you to tell them that this really stair-step to $60 because when you rolled it out, what were you charging?
Yeah, so he wanted me to explain more. Calvin is another barber who's in Atlanta, barbershop owner, JJ's Barbershop, doing big things. He enrolled into the program to kind of learn how I'm doing things. He was asking, he wanted me to share my story more about how this kind of catapulted me to making more money. Before I did my $60 service, please stick with me, y'all. Before I did my $60 service, before I introduced my $75 service, I did the cleanup service. So my haircut was $40, and which is a 30-minute spot. My haircut was $40, and I marketed the cleanup service. Now that was powerful for the people who booked it and for my schedule because it exposed them to my new level of value before I started charging more. So now they're saying if they're willing to pay me $30 for a 15-minute slot, that means they're willing to pay me what for 30 minutes? 15 minutes for $30 for 15 minutes, for 60 for 30 minutes. Y'all follow how this is moving up? So without you having to put on social media, I do $100 haircuts. I do cleanup services too for experienced barbers. If you're struggling with your time, you need to wait. Yes, sir, Mr. Al.
Yeah, one of the things that we were talking about, when we talk about you start off the phrase $100 haircut, it means nothing to the extent that the person is in the chair.
Sorry, say that one more time.
The person's in the chair for 2 hours, $100 haircut doesn't mean anything. Just to say it, and the guy's been sleeping in the bed, sleeping in the chair for the last 25, 35, 45 minutes, and he's just sleeping and he's just cutting him, and you get $100, you haven't really made that much money. And that was the thing that we were talking about with Jalen, was that he threw that out as if that meant something. And when that haircut, if you look at that haircut that they do for him, it's not an hour haircut. It's almost 2.5 hours. Really. He's tired, fried and shaking and everything else. And then when he comes out, he looks like somebody else. So that's not a regular haircut. And to throw that out there, it just caused everybody to think about, hey, my little 25, 30 minutes, I should be getting $100. But this guy's in the chair for 2 hours. Could you imagine letting him pay you $100 and you had him in the chair for 2 hours? It's crazy. So we don't even look at the numbers before we start exploding. We getting crazy in this man. And then I found out that he's not even paying most of the time. He's just doing it, and the guys are doing it for the exposure to say that I cut him. So, we got to be very careful how we let people that don't do what we do, try to speak on what we do. And then we go crazy, and now you go in there and try to tell your customer, well, I want $100, and you can't even get 40. So, it's crazy. So we got to be very careful how we let, other people and celebrities,
yes, sir.
Talk to, because celebrities don't pay. Y'all be careful. Because they have you, I'm so
and I believe
who I am, then you're going to get a whole lot of customers. Well, how many people going to give you $100 just for a half-an-hour haircut? You probably get 1 or 2, but you're going to starve. And you're going to starve before you realize that you're just playing. So we got to be real careful.
Yes, sir.
It's basic math. The average American makes $25 an hour. If you even get overtime, that's maybe $50,000 a year. The average American, which everybody spit out 6 figures, but there's a difference between adjusted gross income and what the net income is. If you're still paying your bills out of 6 figures, you gross 6 figures. Your bills is another thing. The average American cannot afford a $100 haircut. That's the one thing about this industry. We allow celebrities who live a completely different lifestyle than the average American. Maybe 20%. Most celebrities are broke after 3 years. They live a completely different contrary to popular belief and lifestyle. You can't gauge it. The average American comes into this shop, such as a mother who brings 3 kids. Come on, $100 is a long trip. I'm talking about a long trip. I'm talking about imagine a mother who has 5 kids, and you're talking about $40 per kid. The probability rate of her sitting in your chair is slim to none. You gotta, I say this all the time to a lot of barbers. Learn business and learn business things and learn how to count your numbers. You will make six figures. It takes a while to actually make 6 figures. I'm not talking about gross 6 figures. Okay, my tax plan say 6 figures. No. The profit set is more than one way to do it. But be strategic when you talk about what your pricing is and what you want to do, because there's a difference between long money and right now money.
Appreciate your input, brother. This next slide is I put up here is generational wealth reserved for celebrity barbers. Y'all would say no? Anybody? Is generational wealth only reserved for celebrity barbers? No. Nah, it's not. So to your point, if we're as the regular barbers, not saying y'all are regular, right? But as the 95%, there's still more value that we can bring to the table outside of just following the pathway of what celebrity barbers do. And I think that once you're able to shake loose that idea of trying to become a celebrity barber, because I think in our industry, oftentimes that story is told and it's glamorized too much, right? And as a doctor, do you need to be a celebrity doctor to make great money? Come on now, you just got to perfect your craft and become a specialist at what you do. Become a specialist. And for me, that means building more depth to what I do rather than just trying to service everybody and do everything. You know, I don't do units because that's not my specialty. I specialize in bald fades. And my clients come and get a bald fade, and next week they get a clean up sometimes, or they may get 2 weeks of bald fades. But I'm going deep, right? I'm building a lot of wisdom, and I'm bringing a lot of value to what I do, and I specialize in that. I still do other services, clipper of clone, all that stuff, right? But I want y'all to focus on what you do best, master that, get that down, post about it so people can know that you're out there, and then attract the ideal client for you. So yeah, that goes to this next point. Chasing celebrity barber fame is our industry's rat race. I'm just gonna put that out there. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I mean, it's too many. It's a lot of late.
You are not a celebrity barber if you cut Pretty Ricky once a year. No, absolutely not. What makes you a celebrity?
So I would say celebrity barbers, yeah, they cut celebrities, and that's how they boost their value. So the industry has followed that. The barbers who don't have the same exposure says, all right, I cut Boosie one time. I'm a celebrity barber. I charge $130 for a haircut, y'all. Now you're losing because, like you mentioned before, you're not exposing yourself to the majority of the marketplace. Let's make sure we take care of our bottom line, which is being profitable, not celebrities, right? So I think that's layered. I think it depends on who's answering the question. But yeah, I don't think it matters as much as we put emphasis on it. Unknown, generational wealth starts with one risk taker who is willing to try something different or unpopular. This is going to be unpopular, probably in your barbershop in your area. It's going to be different, right? Next. Being self-made means never making an excuse as to why you can't take steps towards whatever your goal is. The goal isn't celebrity, is being a celebrity. In my opinion, that shouldn't be the goal for us. That comes after you've mastered something, after the market sees what value you bring to it. These gentlemen over here, it's a different level once you've shown, right? Show versus telling. If the goal is being profitable and taking care of your family and spending more time with your kids, it doesn't mean you have to be a celebrity barber to do so. The bottom line is, am I profitable? Am I profitable per minute? And this is me. A wealthy barber has a healthy mindset. So ideal clients won't pay you the worth you show. They pay for the value that they feel. Again, ideal clients won't pay you for the worth you show, but for the value that they feel. People pay for what they feel like paying for. Some people pay Ruth Chris prices for steaks. And some people will never pay a Ruth Chris price for a steak, right? That's what they value. Some people value Ruth Chris's quality of steaks. Some people don't care. You know, give me a hamburger, I'll be all right. So let's talk about value real quick, guys. And I know I'm running out of time. I got about 15 minutes. I'm gonna try to get through this quickly, but I think this is a powerful conversation.
15 minutes, counting down.
Oh, thank you, Siri. The 3 pillars of value. All right, so I'm gonna talk quickly, guys, to get through this part quickly. All right, so I spent time studying outside the industry. I had an amazing conversation this morning with Cole. There's a lot of value outside of the industry and outside of scrolling on Instagram. That was a lot of Atlanta that came out of that one, right? Y'all hear that scrolling? There's a lot of value once you understand that you are a consultant, you are a service provider. So it's one thing following barbers who you admire, who are doing amazing things, who expose you to different ideas. It's another thing just following work that you may like, oh, that's cool, let me just like that picture. What I'm saying is, if you're gonna spend time on social media, spend it by following people who inspire you and people who do similar work in different industries, and see how you can maybe flip some ideas that you might have. There are real estate agents who are similar to what we do. There are doctors and dentists who do similar stuff, guys. So 3 pillars of value. Number 1 is external, and this is where the celebrity barber idea or the story stops. It starts and ends with external value. External value is a haircut. That's an external value, right? What's another example y'all can give me of an external? So if you're a dentist, an external value is, say it again? The grill. Yeah, that's external value. Stay with me, y'all. Internal value is something that frustrates people. So internal value is punctuality, time. Not all barbers do punctual haircuts. They don't do appointments, right? So they're only solving one problem, just the external, I need a haircut. But a punctual barber solves 2 problems. Y'all following me? Y'all tracking me? He solves the problem of somebody needing a haircut and somebody wanting their time respected. That's 2 layers of value. The third layer is psychological. This can be a little complex, but just to make it plain, this is about people and the way they feel things ought to be, right? So for this, the way that you maximize your value in this particular lane is being yourself. For me, I am a father of 3, right? I have a barber shop. My wife and I are married for 8 years. I'm not marketing that, but I'm not hiding that either, right? It's part of my identity. And the psychological value that it brings is some people want to do business with me because they are similar to me. If you are a golfer like Tyreek, and I am, bro, I'm mad I missed you out there, bro. I'm a golfer too. We're gonna talk. If you're a golfer like Tyreek, an additional layer of value that he can bring is the psychological value of him showing that he's a golfer. So now he's going to attract a different type of client on a different layer of value. He's going to attract somebody that wants a haircut, but they also value that he's a golfer. That's 3 different layers of value. Another example of mine, and this is more about separating the idea between that you have to cut celebrity clients to make celebrity barber money. I have a client that I cut this past Tuesday. He is an Army, I don't want to mess up his rank, but he's in the Army. He has 3 children. Just started cutting him about 3 or 4 months ago. He usually goes to Carter in our shop, but Carter wasn't available, so he valued time, and I was available at the time that he needed me, right? That's 1 layer, internal time. First layer, I need a haircut. I can cut, and he needed an even all over 3-0 with a tint fade on the sides and a soft lineup. That's what he needed. He booked my $60 service. That's 2 layers of value. The third layer is a psychological. He's a father of 3, right? He's a husband, so we talked about our wives, because that's how we do in the shop, right? Talked about the similar problems that we have. But he paid me $60 plus a tip of $12. He paid me $72 for a 000 cut with a tint fade on the sides and a razor line, y'all. Like, you have to expose the market to the value that you bring and stop just tying it to your skill set alone. They would have you believe that the only way that you can charge more is by cutting celebrities and getting better and better. And you got to put out these grade A perfect haircuts every time you put somebody in the chair. I'm saying people don't always value that, y'all. That's not the only thing that they value. Some people want to get in and out, and they value that more than they value that perfect haircut that you're trying to put on them. So now they're not coming back to you because you didn't value their time over you trying to put the perfect haircut on. You may have done an amazing haircut, but they wanted to get in and out. They had somewhere to be. And that goes back to the idea of attracting the ideal client who has these different layers of value that they really want from a barber. But if you're only trying to promote, your skill set, then you're missing out on these clients who don't have to be super rich to pay high dollar for what you provide. Y'all still tracking me? We good?
So, did the culture of your shop change when you changed? I don't know when you came into that new form, because a lot of shops have a different culture where they have, of course, you have your music, you may have the TV or whatever. You may have talking. So, how did that change the culture of your shop?
It didn't. So the question that I'll just ask is, how did me introducing this service change the culture? The culture was there first. Yeah, so I had an appointment-only barbershop, y'all. I don't know if I made that clear. My shop is appointment-only. Sounds crazy, right? Not when you talk in the right language that your client really wants you to talk. Appointment-only barbershop, no TV. We don't do walk-ins. Now, again, gray area. If we're not booked up, if Meg doesn't have a client for an hour and somebody walks in because they saw our Google reviews, another gym, make sure y'all do y'all Google reviews, then we're gonna put them in Meg's chair, yes, but we don't market that we do walk-ins because we want people to value time. We want that type of client. Not the type of client who wants to get in and pay me $300 for this quick cut, because they coming and going. I want somebody that's gonna come on a regular. And why would they come on a regular? Because I'm solving multiple layers of value. All right?
At this point in Barber, you don't want to be guessing on somebody coming and get no service anyway. You want to make sure you book.
100%. Yep. And this allows you to both make great money and be booked, which what I mentioned earlier, which is about recession-proof barbering, right? Sometimes it's tough because if you're charging a lot, you have a small group of clients that you service. So two of them find a better barber who does better temp phase than you, then they're gone because you're only servicing and providing value to that one layer. If you're doing these cleanup services and providing other layers of value, if you drop 15 clients, you'll be all right because you got 180 that you cut on a regular, in a 2-week period. That's just a number I threw out there. So Roof Chris, Longhorn, and Burger King, the Select Premium Steakhouse Whopper. They all sell steaks, all right? Some people value Roof Chris, and they're gonna go to Roof Chris. Some people value Longhorn, they're gonna go to Longhorn. They ain't gonna go to Roof Chris. And some on a regular go to Burger King, and that's all right. Now, as far as cutting celebrity clients and trying to make high ticket, I know some of y'all might be saying, Mike, you're in Atlanta, so that's why you make such great money. I'm saying, is Roof Chris only in Atlanta? Longhorn, is that only in Atlanta? And neither is Burger King. So when you build your services, right, and your value to attract, y'all follow what I'm saying here? Hopefully I'm making sense. That you could become the preferred high ticket premium choice in your area and attract people by providing a lot of value, right? Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into the Bible here, but y'all, you have not because you, all right? And I say, you ask not because you believe not. The root problem is your mindset. We have to believe it first. After belief, then comes action. But this isn't just about affirmations, because there's no momentum with affirmations. So these ideas are cool, and this conversation is cool, but if you don't take action and try it, then this is nothing. It just ends right here. It stays here in this room. All right? Next, you might believe you need a huge following on social media to make celebrity barber income. Somebody laugh, who's that? Do non-celebrity doctors still make good money? I mean, it's not just the Real Housewives doctors who make great money, right? So it's all about perspective shifts, y'all. You got to open up your mind a little more. Next is John Merrick. Has anybody heard of John Merrick? No? So who is the most famous barber millionaire that we get taught about in barber school? Not John Merrick. It's another name I'm looking for. Herndon. Alonzo Herndon, right? He's known for being a millionaire in our industry, but there's also John Merrick. John Merrick was a barber in the late 1800s who started off as a barber in a barbershop. I'm sorry, I got you in the chair, Meg. Appreciate you. Barber in a barbershop, late 1800s. Went from being a shoe shinesman in that barbershop to eventually being part owner of that shop. The other partners decided that they wanted to sell, so he bought the entire barbershop. This is in Durham, North Carolina. He expanded to 5 shops. 2 out of the 5 were cutting white men only. The other 3, I think, were for black barbershops, right? From there, he expanded even further and started offering insurance to his community because there was a lack of representation and people weren't able to get insurance as black people in his community. So he opened up an insurance company, y'all. Then he went into real estate. This is a story that really touches my soul because I believe I am the enhancement. And that's not just about my ability to put hair on the floor That's about my ability to think differently, think outside the box, and then execute, right? And that's what Herndon was. He wasn't a celebrity barber. He wasn't the most well-known barber. But in his area, he took care of his community, right? And then he expanded beyond the chair. And I'm saying that's possible, even if you don't know about it. He still accomplished it, and most of us in here didn't know about him. You don't have to be a celebrity barber to build generational wealth, y'all. Too many charge Ruth Chris prices for Burger King results. I'll say it again. Too many charge Ruth Chris prices for Burger King results. And on the bottom here I have, are you prepared for the market correction? So again, outside of the barbering industry, when you take a step back outside of what we're typically exposed to, and when I say exposure, I'm just talking about social media, right? If you like pictures of haircuts on social media, they're gonna keep feeding you pictures of haircuts on social media, right? So when you step outside of that and you look at the industry as a whole, there's a lot going on with these prices. These prices are shooting up. I'm not saying that we aren't worth it because our worth isn't tied to what we do, right? I'm saying that markets, they have trends. And I believe that there is going to be a market correction, that clients are going to start to smarten up and understand that I'm getting Burger King quality for this Ruth Chris price. Y'all following me? Are you prepared for that correction? Meaning, are you introducing new services like the cleanup to your clients? Right? Are you promoting yourself so people know about you? Are you telling your story so people will see that there's multiple layers of value that you bring to the table? So you can be the go-to choice in your area without having to be in Atlanta, without having to be in LA, right? You can be the go-to choice in your marketplace like Ruth Chris is the go-to choice. Y'all follow what I'm saying here? All right, so this is the last one. Last slide. I know this is a lot of information. You may feel like this dog right here with this water hose spraying into his mouth, right? This was a lot, and I know this was a lot, all right? But hopefully you took some great notes and you took my most important part, which is to execute, all right? So when I say that I am the enhancement and I bring up Bruce Lee in the background, which you can't really see, I'm talking about bringing additional layers of value to your clientele, to the marketplace. Outside of your ability to cut hair, what problems do you solve for them, right? And how well do you market those problems? Or are you just posting pictures of haircuts? Are you speaking your client's language? Are you holding yourself accountable to your time slots? If you're charging premium for haircuts, yeah, you need to be making sure that you take care of people and make them whole when you're running behind as well. And that will keep the person coming back, even if you aren't doing perfect haircuts. And this ties back into the rest of my story. So I stopped at 2020, but before 2020, I started cutting hair in middle school like most of us in here, right? Cut my homeboys, moved to Atlanta in 2008, not for barbering. Barbering was something I just did to keep money in my pocket. But then the recession hit in 2008, right? Kind of similar to what we may be going to right now. So at that time, I decided to go to barber school to get my L's, and I took it serious. I took it dead serious. I was in Atlanta. I was like, I want to compete. I got into a barber shop with 17 other barbers. I was one of 17 in this shop. And at that time, you know, I was only 23 at the time. And I was shook. I was scared, to tell y'all the truth, right? Trying to compete in this shop full of experienced, dope barbers. But I sat down to what Cole was saying, and I spent time thinking and trying to figure out, what can I do to make myself different in this shop, right? What makes my Whopper different than any of these other Whoppers, right? This is like having 17 Burger Kings on the same block. What makes your Whopper any different? For me, it's what I do differently, and I value time. I value punctuality. So I decided I was going to make sure I market that punctuality and that I took it serious, and I want people to feel it. And I wanted to charge prices when somebody was running late, right? So they know that they feel it now, right? They know that Mike ain't playing about his time. All right? So I am the enhancement, meaning this is what I did to stand out in that shop. I became the busiest barber in that shop. Again, at that time, I was cutting like 75. I was going crazy. I was cutting like 75 heads a week. It was about time turning over. Then I got a family, and my values changed, right? And I decided that I wanted to value my time more and spend more time with my wife than to have kids at the time. So I started to shift some things, going up on prices, right? And really starting to understand that if I'm going to increase my value, then I have to invest into the other sides of my business, not just the latest clippers. All right? So you are the enhancement too. And I want to remind you of that and to give you the space in this room to know that that's okay, to be the enhancement. It's not just about me spraying. I didn't even have time to do it. It's not about just me spraying this enhancement on Meg's haircut, showing her the mirror. The enhancement isn't external. The enhancement's in you, right? How well do you display that? And I'm actually kind of glad that I didn't do it, because with this demonstration, I was able to show y'all this value without putting the enhancement. I was showing you how I am the enhancement, right? All right, so as I wrap up here, I know this is a moment. I appreciate you again, Al, for giving me this opportunity, my brother. I'm glad I was able to at least have a conversation with y'all about this topic, because I'm passionate about barbers having time, right? We slave behind the chair and we grind, and only reason why we sat down a couple years ago was because of COVID. I'm saying that you can make time for your family. My brother Pravado back here, bro, I follow you. He's an inspiration to me. But I see that he's made time for his family, and he values his clients as well, but he also values his time. And I'm saying that you guys can do that as well, but it starts off with how much you value those minutes, right? And what you're doing per minute. Cool? So what's next? Well, as I wrap this up, I do have Amplify. It's a program where I teach barbers how to scale. You guys can scan this QR code to add yourself to the wait list. I'm thinking about exposing and bringing more barbers into the cohort. Right now, there's 17 barbers in across the country, one as far as Guam. And we just talk about pretty much the same thing. Yeah, so what we just did here, this kind of dialogue, is what we kind of do in our mastermind, y'all. We have conversations about real life examples, and they challenge me and I challenge them, just like Erskine did, about how do you make this work in your own particular market, right? How do I do it and not lose clients? You know, might look at this email that I'm going to send my clients, and they bring it to the table and we all have discussions about it, right? So that's what's next. If you guys want to take it beyond this conversation with me, then sign up. We can have a conversation. But I'm not looking to service a whole bunch of barbers. The way I don't want to do it with the book. That's just not how I want to do it. I want to go deep. I want to build relationships and really help people scale to another level. So I want to just service a few amount of people. That's how I want to do it. So scan that QR code. We can have a discussion later. But I think that's the end of my presentation, y'all. And I appreciate this time. Thank you, Meg. You did a great job sitting here not doing that.
All right, y'all give it up for Mike Andrews. I am.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all say it.
I am.
The